as we said, an unfortunate situation. Deep southerly flow. We've got that moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, that upper level low. Energy coming in the layers of the atmosphere with a bit of direction. Wind direction changing with height. That is wind shear. Southeasterly flow coming up from the Gulf, as you see there. That area low pressure, just like its predecessors, in the same exact spot. Starting over portions of Amarillo, Texas, then moving to the east through Texas. Monday, severe weather threat there from Dallas up to Oklahoma City through portions of Little Rock. You can see scattered showers and thunderstorms. And that threat on Monday is pretty expansive. It extends from most of the areas of northeastern Texas, central Texas to the east, portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, under the gun once again. Folks, you've been down this road several times. You know the drill. Have your Fox Weather app handy, the notifications turned on. Have your safety plan action in place, because if you need to use it, it will be less of a stressful time if it wasn't in place to begin with. And the dew points, the measure of just how much moisture is in the air at the lower levels, will be very high, close to that air temperature. Severe weather threat for your Tuesday does move to the east through portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, under the gun. Same story, winds in excess of 58 miles an hour. 1-inch hail in diameter or larger, frequent cloud to ground lightning, and torrential rain is possible within severe thunderstorms. Obviously, any severe thunderstorm with this situation setting up has the capability of producing isolated tornadoes. For Wednesday, that stretch and that threat moves from Meridian, Mississippi, eastward into the Atlanta metro area. So you have to be on the guard there through portions of the areas of Wednesday afternoon, northern Georgia, up through where they desperately need the rain in the Smoky Mountains of Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and then south and west of there through Meridian, Mississippi. And any one of these storms can drop a tremendous amount of rainfall. The areas of yellow, 2 to 3 inches of rain, centered over portions of Oklahoma, and then another round of heavier rain, the bullseye, the jackpot zone, looks like portions of Mississippi and Alabama. Folks, it's been raining the last couple of weeks in these regions. They do not need any more water, especially along the northern stretch of that area. So the flooding situation, Jason, is quite high. We're going to continue to monitor the situation here at Fox Weather tomorrow and right through the beginning of next week.
I'm Amy Freeze. Welcome to Fox Weather's YouTube page. We have more great videos on the way, so make sure to subscribe to stay updated on all things weather.